Hey, I'm Tristan. I'm going to be providing an introduction into a contemporary criminological issue known as image-based abuse and deepfakes. Now, just for some background information on what this is, image-based abuse described as by McGlynn and Rackley is the range of ways in which sexual images are created and or distributed without the consent of the individual. And deepfakes can be described as via the E-Safety Commissioner 2022 as a digital photo, video, or sound file of a real person that has been edited to create an extremely realistic but false depiction of them doing something or saying something that they did not actually do or say. Now, the creation of deepfakes can be accessed by the general public, meaning that anyone and everyone can make one. This causes rising concerns for the harm that this can bring. As technology is constantly improving and becoming harder to detect, this can cause an array of issues varying from cyberbullying all the way to online cybercrimes. The uses are endless for deepfakes and pose a serious threat against the political environment, as there has been incidents where deepfakes of presidents and individuals in power have been mirrored through a deepfake and made to push a certain gender. One of the more current events happening, which involves the use of deepfakes, is the development of AI-generated news anchors. For the most part, they've only been used in China, although they are still in the early development stage. If confused with a real person, this could cause some issues. For the most part, these issues are in regards to misinformation. Anything technology-based can be hacked and therefore creates the risk of major news platforms spreading misinformation and creating fake news. Some relevant statistics provided by EdSmart stated that globally, 71% of respondents didn't know what a deepfake was. Another poll revealed that 43% admitted they would not be able to tell the difference between a real video and a deepfake. Another article from the media platform known as The Guardian stated in a 2019 report that 96% of deepfake material online is pornographic, and the majority of that pornographic material is targeted at female celebrities. So later on we will touch base on some of the impacts that image-based abuse and deepfakes can have on individuals later in our presentation.
Hi, my name is Maddie and I'm going to be outlining image-based abuse and its impacts. Image-based abuse is an issue that has become much more prevalent with the rise of accessible technology that allows it. It includes acts such as revenge porn, as well as non-consensual pornography, and more recently the use of deepfake technology to create pornographic images of people. Image-based abuse includes three main behaviors: the non-consensual taking or creation of nude or sexual images, the non-consensual sharing or distribution of nude or sexual images, or the threat to share or distribute nude or sexual images. According to the E-Safety Commissioner, 1/5 of women aged 18 to 45 have experienced image-based abuse, compared with 4% of women aged 46 and over. For men, 16% of those aged 18 to 45 experienced image-based abuse, compared with 4% of men aged 46 and over. This National E-Safety Commission surveyed 4,122 Australians who were active online, and it studied the prevalence, nature, and impacts of image-based abuse among the population of Australia. Around 96% of deepfake content online is non-consensual pornography, and most of them depict women, according to a 2019 study by a Dutch AI company Sensity. It begs the question how this technology is being used and whether it should be widely available for the general public. These types of crimes can have lasting impacts on the victims, which can result in more pain. Many victims are further victimized in their school and workplaces due to the stigma associated with the images they likely shared with someone they trusted. There is a significant amount of victim blaming, which can result in further victimization. Oftentimes, the victim's actions are called into question, even in circumstances where the victim was recorded without their knowledge. In a study funded by the Australian Research Council, they found that many reported that the nude images of them had been taken without their knowledge or consent while they were asleep, or drug or alcohol affected, or with the aid of a secret camera. For a small number of participants, images had been digitally altered to make them nude or sexual. Most participants also spoke of the relentless, constant nature of the harms they experienced, of their ongoing and endlessness. They reported that they felt like they were living each day in utter fear that the images would be rediscovered. Many also reported feeling a sense of isolation from family and friends as a result of their victimization. Unfortunately, due to the inconsistency of image-based sexual abuse, these isolating and destabilizing effects can be ongoing and intense in nature.
How can WPR be used to understand the topic? The acronym WPR stands for What's the Problem Represented to Be? And this is a policy analysis designed by Carol Barchi. The purpose of this policy is to start from the premise of what one proposes to do about something, which further reveals what one thinks is a problematic thing and needs to change. WPR can be used to understand image-based abuse as it provides a 6-step questioning method which can help identify the key issues intensively within this topic. WPR assists researchers to develop and organize research projects through 6 questions which are interlinked that foster an enhanced critical engagement with our topic, image-based abuse. In order to be able to understand the underlying issues within image-based abuse, there needs to be a critical analysis which identifies each of those issues. There are many aspects as to what capacity an individual is able to claim that they are entitled to privacy. The argument consistently made with photographing in public spaces without permission is that the space is labeled to be shared and that would entitle one to take a photograph of everything in that space. At the same time, this could also be identified as a violation of privacy by an individual who wouldn't like to be photographed without permission because they feel they are entitled to ownership of content that makes them visible. While it is illegal to take an intimate photo without one's consent and to share the image, there is no federal law which outlines it is a crime to do so. There are several questions regarding privacy rights of those who are being photographed in a public space, including the fact that there is no federal law which offers protection. If an individual has an opposition of being photographed, they would need to have a court determine the amount or capacity of their right to privacy in the particular situation. The WPR approach could be implemented to assist several companies to further introduce reformed and new policies and also make these legislative acts. If this were to become successful, there would be an opportunity for change. It is legal in Australia for photographers to photograph everyday situations, people or places, ensuring that they are not breaking any laws, which would mostly be considered trespassing. If a photographer has a picture of you taken from a public space, they are entitled to keep it regardless of how you may feel about that. The only circumstances in which a photographer could be asked to delete those photographs/videos could be if they have violated the law in any way. As there is no specific law which protects an individual from being photographed in public, the chances are that you won't be able to rightfully ask someone to delete that content of you. Angrily approaching or demanded that content to be deleted could be considered assault against the photographer. It is essential that federal law is in place for everyone to feel that they have a right to privacy and to provide consent in order for them to be photographed by another member of the public. The WPR would be an effective method to ensure a sustainable policy is able to be produced and become legislation.
Question 4 assists us to analyse what is removed and left unsaid by the problem representation and how we can think about our current issue differently. Image-based abuse is commonly referred to as revenge porn. However, in many circumstances, sharing or threatening to share an intimate photograph is not motivated by revenge, and the image does not have to be pornographic to be intimate and private. Image-based abuse can occur for a wide range of motives, such as a desire to control, punish, humiliate, or otherwise harm the victim, financial incentives, a desire for social status or notoriety, or many others, and can include many kinds of videos or images. Following WPR question 4, we can view the jurisdictional issues that surround this issue. While legislation can help protect individuals from being victims of deepfakes, there may be interjurisdictional issues one must deal with, such as international issues. Because it is online, it is difficult for a state to govern jurisdiction, since the attack could originate from anywhere. We have no knowledge where the perpetrator or perpetrators might be. There are also limitations in being able to pinpoint who's done it. The laws can also be challenging when viewing this issue. Despite the prevalence of the abuse and the psychological damage it can do, this is a tough crime to prosecute. It is illegal in Victoria, South Australia, New South Wales, and the ACT to take an intimate photo without a person's permission, or to share or threaten to share it without their permission. However, there are no laws against image-based abuse in the remaining states and territories. As a result, in certain locations, we must rely on stalking or surveillance-type offences, which are not very appropriate. Although no federal crime exists, prosecutors have attempted to interpret an existing law against using a carriage service to threaten or harass someone to fit the purpose. It is, however, ineffective since it does not actually capture threatening to send someone's image or taking an image without permission. Another issue in Victoria is that it is a summary offence, meaning that this is the lowest of offence. As a result, the police have no arrest authority. They cannot just seize the offender's phone or computer. Victims would need to name the person or people responsible for the anonymous breach in order to initiate a civil action, which would rely on Google providing the account holder's IP address. Corporate responsibility is often silenced and is not talked about much. There are currently only a few websites and social media platforms with policies in place surrounding image-based abuse. The issue with some of the websites is that the victim must show to the website that it was a non-consensual photograph and that they are the person in the image. This can become a lengthy and exhausting process. More corporate accountability should be taken for the distribution of photos from prominent social media sites.
How can the representation of image-based abuse and deepfakes be disrupted and replaced? Firstly, to address the representation of image-based abuse and deepfakes, it's important to firstly analyze what is considered to be image abuse and deepfakes. Once these different types of abuse are recognized, we can counter these acts of cybercrime by raising awareness and promoting digital literacy. Educational campaigns can help people understand the risks and consequences associated with these practices. By fostering critical thinking skills, individuals can better identify and avoid falling victim to harmful content. Stricter laws and regulations, combined with collaborative efforts between tech companies, law enforcement agencies, and advocacy groups, can hold perpetrators accountable and create a safer online environment. Supporting victims with therapeutic services and resources is essential in combating these issues effectively. Counseling and support services include crisis hotlines that can give you free and confidential advice at any time of day or night, through to services that provide regular and ongoing support from a counselor or psychologist. While efforts are being made to protect people from image-based abuse and deepfakes, there are still some flaws in the process. One challenge is the ever-evolving nature of technology, which makes it difficult to detect and prevent new forms of abuse. Once one problem is solved, it simply leads to another problem opening, known as crime displacement.
Additionally, the anonymity and global reach of the internet can make it challenging to track down and hold perpetrators accountable. However, we can replace the representation of image-based abuse and deepfakes with new softwares and artificial intelligence programs. AI can help with content moderation by analyzing images and videos to identify and flag abusive or inappropriate content. This helps platforms and authorities take quick action to remove such content. There is an existing website called the CEDAW. The CEDAW is a leading provider of products and services for content security and moderation to online marketplaces. It is used globally with thousands of very popular websites. There is also the issue of the disruption of reputation, such as false positives, where legitimate content may be mistakenly flagged as abusive. Striking a balance between protecting users and preserving freedom of expression can be a complex task. However, by continuing to invest in advanced technologies, collaborating with experts, and actively involving the community in reporting violations, we can work towards minimizing these flaws and creating a safer online environment. Replacing the representation means educating people about the risks and consequences. These key actions will empower individuals to recognize and avoid this abusive content, encouraging them to speak out and act rather than hiding in the dark. Reporting and flagging inappropriate content helps in enforcing rules and creating a safer environment. Collaborating with safety experts and investing in advanced technologies can assist in monitoring and addressing abuse. Prioritizing specifics in advertising spaces ensures that harmful content is not associated with ads. Rebuilding the reputation of protection against image-based abuse and deepfakes requires a widespread approach. Again, education is key in helping people understand the risks and consequences of these practices. Collaborating with safety experts and investing in advanced technologies can assist in monitoring and addressing abuse effectively. Stricter laws and regulation, along with community reporting, can help hold perpetrators accountable. Many people are afraid to speak out, as they fear they may be victim blamed, such as being asked questions like, why were these photos up in the first place? Promoting digital and literacy and critical thinking skills can empower individuals to identify and avoid falling victim to harmful content.
As mentioned throughout the presentation, image-based abuse is a serious offense which can lead to catastrophic results in relation to virtually anything, such as media and the spread of misinformation, but especially in relation to the lives of people. This fact gets reinforced when there are large groups of people who admitted to not being able to tell the difference between a deepfaked image and a real one, or that they did not even know what a deepfake was or is. Continuing on, studies have shown that roughly 96% of all deepfakes are pornographic in nature, with the targeted victims being majority females, especially celebrities. Another recent study has also shown and proven that the majority of the people victimized from image-based abuse, whether that be revenge porn, deepfakes, or non-consensual pornography, are females generally between the ages of 18 and 45, boasting a 20% of people in a survey of 4,122 actively online Australians. A more shocking cause of concern is the acknowledgement that AI and the ability to create such images, such as pornographic images of people, is so widespread and publicly available to virtually anyone with an internet connection that it creates a sense of fear and severity towards the issue. Image-based abuse is so widespread in nature that it is virtually impossible to completely contain, as it is a global issue. This leads into the WPR framework, as using the framework created by Carol Backey can help identify the core issues of image-based abuse, which is cybercrime as a whole, and use that to attempt to identify a potential solution or barrier. Using the framework, it is found that due to how widespread and inconceivably large cybercrime and image-based abuse truly is, there are very little ways that states and jurisdictions can do individually to stop the issue, no matter if they each implement a statewide law. However, the WPR approach does create some potential solutions in relation to image-based abuse, albeit they would require a lot of time and regulation. The statement mentioned previously can be proven with the likes of Victoria, as they have a statewide law against the taking of intimate photos without a person's permission, which is labelled as an offence. However, in Victoria, this offence is merely a summary offence. There can be forms of mitigation, however, such as the usage and training of AI to moderate certain websites or to take down certain images, or to give widespread education on the dangers of sending explicit photos to people on the internet. The downside to these forms of mitigation in relation to cybercrime and image-based abuse is the constant evolution and changing of the internet, which leads to solving one problem but either creating a new one or having the solved one just reopen in a new location or under a new name, and the widespread availability of the internet being a global issue which leads to perpetrators potentially being in another country or being entirely inaccessible. When it comes to the issue of cybercrime and more specifically image-based abuse, an alternate approach to the issue would be the use of AI to fight back the issue of image-based abuse. The use of AI would work more for deepfakes, however, as there are already programs and websites using it with a really high degree of succession. One such AI would be the company founded by Dan Purcell known as Ciatus DMCA, which is an AI targeted towards creators which remove any explicit imagery or false information on the internet and then enact a copyright strike and offense to the perpetrating account or website. This AI is so effective in what it does that it was recently partnered with the website OnlyFans to be their certified safety check, ensuring that no photos get leaked outside of the website. While this AI is only currently used for creators with copyrightable resources and is only available in the USA, this AI shows the future of AI capabilities in relation to image-based abuse and cybercrime, and could be similarly implemented by the governing figures and states or websites such as Instagram in their own way to take care of the image-based abuse.